सामने वाली
चलो चलो चलो।
okay, let me introduce you first. So this is Vibhav. He is my school friend, and he is doing his dentistry. Like his course is in bachelor's in exact काय तसं हे आहे.
So it's BDS, Bachelor in Dental Surgery. I have not yet completed my BDS, but I mean, I've just finished my final year and one more year of internship, and then I'll receive my degree. So today, and thanks for having me, Saarth and Kaustubh, both of you.
Yeah.
Great to be here. We'll talk about everything that any common man or person like us needs to know. All there is to be, all there is about tooth or tooth structure, basically. Okay, so we will. I'll first tell you a little bit about the tooth structure.
तो
Something
बिफोर दैट
about
एक इंट्रोडक्शन कर ले, लाइक एक नॉर्मल टाइप, लाइक वेलकम गाइस, वेलकम टू द फैट मैरियो चैनल। सो आज
right,
हम
right.
डिस्कस करने वाले थे अबाउट डेंटिस्ट, लाइक what does a dentist do, like a basic question, and any importance of dentist, वैसा टाइप वैसे फ्लो रहेगा। तो अच्छा
Like
चिल।
yeah, basic matlab that field actually is something which everybody knows, but just we have listened to it and we haven't like dived deeper into that. So here we have Vibhav. So he is quite like he actually explains also very nicely about those things, and he's very passionate about his like degree as well. So let's continue. Yeah, Vibhav, continue.
Yeah. So I'll first, by the end of this, you'll know why toothbrushing or tooth cleaning practices are important, which is, I think, something that is the very basic that every man needs to know. So I'll first explain a little bit about the tooth structure to you guys. I'll tell a little about how toothbrushing is to be exactly done. We just do it in some haphazard manner, right? I'll tell you what habits are really hampering for your teeth. I'll tell you how to floss, exact technique for that. And I'll tell you of certain things which people are not really able to understand when they go to a dentist. A dentist usually goes for root canal treatments, and most people are like, why do we need to jump right to that? You know, why can't we opt for a better treatment or a simpler treatment? So I'll tell you that why one needs to go for RCT, and finally we'll be talking about staining of teeth and gums, health of the gums. Okay, we'll do all this very briefly. I'll just start with the tooth structure first.
Yeah.
So I've prepared a diagram. Just I hope you guys see this. Can you see this?
Yes.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
clear.
Okay.
Yes, okay.
So this outer structure, this is the enamel. Okay, I'm sure you guys must have heard of this term. The
Yes.
enamel, which basically gives the white structure or the white color to the tooth. All right. This inner layer is dentine,
Okay.
which is a yellow colored layer. Okay, it is the layer that is underneath the enamel, and this darkened layer, this one, is the pulp, which contains all the vessels and the nerves. Okay, so this structure basically will be giving the tooth its vitality and also providing it the nerve supply. So the sensitivity that people feel is basically attributed to this layer, the pulp layer. Okay, these three layers are to be understood first and foremostly to get to know what exactly is the tooth about and how exactly is the tooth affected by external factors. So now we'll go on to toothbrushing techniques.
तो एक क्वेश्चन है,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
how
yeah.
does the color, white color impact the tooth, like is it necessary, like white होना जरूरी है या tooth क्या चलेगा, it's yellow is also okay?
Okay. So yeah, this was a point I was going to come back to eventually, but let's finish this one now that we've started. Basically, specifically when we talk about as Indians, you know, we have certain amounts of spices, or we use mostly haldi or turmeric in our foods. So that yellow color, which is very characteristically seen in Indians, not most of them, but yeah, you can see them. I mean, you must have seen it, right? So this yellow color is very much seen in Indians, not as much as we see them in people from the foreign countries. So that is because of turmeric mostly, or spices that we use. And most importantly, this white color of enamel, as you saw in the structure, the the white part or the enamel part is very thin, right? It's very thin.
Hmm.
So anything, like if you bite too hard, if you keep on grinding your teeth, this leads to destruction of this thin layer, and then the underneath dentine is exposed. Now this, what is to be understood here is this dentine is yellow colored. So it is not necessarily staining every time. If your enamel has been destroyed, the underneath dentine is getting exposed.
Yeah.
And that exposed dentine is causing that yellowish structure.
Look, okay.
Okay. But both
So
of
it means,
them need treatment any which ways. So
okay,
yeah,
okay. Yeah.
it is
Yeah,
that.
but
And
if the dentine is exposed, then it's like like a serious condition, or is it normal?
it's necessarily not serious because see, the nerves which are in the pulp, they have they sort of have a connectivity with the dentine. Because see, I won't go into the depths of this. Dentine has certain tubules which have a fluid basically, and the nerve supply which is provided to the pulp, that is somewhat affecting the hydrodynamics of the fluid that is contained in the dentinal tubules. So a person in which the dentine is exposed is very much prone to sensitivity, very much.
Yeah.
Like even consumption of a little hot or cold food item or something, or a beverage basically will cause that jhanjanat which we see in those
Ah,
Sensodyne
yeah.
advertisements, right? And by
Yeah.
the way, Sensodyne is actually good, huh? We recommend that to most patients with suffering from hypersensitivity. So yeah, but that one of the causes for that is the dentine exposure.
I think you come under the 1% who rejects Colgate, right?
Yeah, I'm the 10th dentist. I told that to
Only
Saarth
you
as
use
well.
Sensodyne,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
Colgate.
No, I definitely won't recommend Colgate. I've told him actually. The
Oh,
most great, the amazing toothpaste that I myself use is Dantakanti.
Dantakanti.
Patanjali.
Dantakanti Supremacy.
Everyone must use it,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So one more doubt I had.
Yeah.
The so I don't know exactly, but enamel actually gives the hardness to the teeth as well, right? The teeth
Enamel
that
does
is
give hardness. Actually,
okay.
man, this is a really a geeky fact, but enamel is the hardest material in the body, even harder than the bone. But that renders it a bit brittle.
Okay.
The hardness is more than the bone itself, but it's very brittle. So it's subject to fractures,
Okay.
Oh, okay, okay.
right?
And
It's
then
definitely
one more thing. Yeah. Okay. Continue. Yeah.
no. You are go
Okay.
ahead. Go ahead.
Sometimes when we eat, or after eating, or after few hours of after eating, sometimes white substance as well, like we can like prick it out from our teeth, but that is not
ऐसा
something which is a
scratch किया
food.
होता है ऐसा white एक आता है वो right?
So what
Yeah,
is that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that is basically tooth debris. So see, what happens is our oral cavity, the entire mouth is always consisting of bacteria. All right, and these bacteria are always feasting on the food that we consume. To put more simply, it's sugars that they consume, the carbohydrates that we ingest. So these are broken down into, as you know, saliva causes 30% of the digestion. So
Yeah, correct.
30% of digestion is occurring in your mouth itself. So when you consume food, these sugars are broken down, and these sugars are feasted upon by these bacteria. Now, what happens is the white layer which you found on your teeth, you scratch them off and you get those white layers.
Yeah.
It is debris, that is food debris, and that can be easily removed with your brush. Or that's why they say actually, you should brush after every meal.
So
Or
that
at
must
least
be
you should
removed.
rinse after every meal. Most people don't even do that.
Yeah.
Brushing is so far off, But you
Yeah.
should brush after every meal. At least rinse your mouth. Mouth rinses are basically, we come to that now. Mouth rinses are very good. You should mouth rinse every day. You should floss every day. And so that is debris. So while we go into this, I'll tell you one more thing. When this debris keeps on accumulating, these bacteria, they keep feasting on it. And they form a layer which is not anymore possible to be removed with your brush or your hands, because
Correct.
the white layer can be removed with your hand, right, or your brush.
Yeah.
But the thing is, over time, if you let this stay on your teeth, the bacteria turn it into a layer called as plaque. Now this plaque is something which you can't remove easily with your teeth or your with your hands or with your brush. And again, if this stays on, then it forms something called as calculus. I really insist all of you to go and search this thing, calculus. I've even showed Saarth, I think. It's a chunky layer, like a white yellowish layer. It's mineralized. That gives it the hardness. And this is the extremely the terminal case of something that is accumulating, the food debris accumulation.
The thing
And this causes
between
problems
these,
to your gums.
okay, between the teeth you are talking about, that accumulation.
It actually encircles the whole teeth, encircles. And if it progresses further, it may even cover like the structure of the teeth, 1/3 or 2/3 of the teeth. But this is in cases where where people don't brush at all. So that is not what we are talking about. But maintain your oral hygiene on a regular basis. That is the core.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So
So should I
continue with
go
your
on?
flow. Yeah. 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 You go.
Yeah. So now I'll go into oral habits. This is specifically for children, small children, but I think some of us still have some habits. So we'll start with something as basic as thumb sucking. All right. Thumb sucking is a habit which we think is, we know it to be a little abnormal, but kids do that. And what it does is when you place your thumb like this, it is causing pressure on your upper teeth, these teeth. See, if these are your upper teeth.
Crazy.
Right? So when you place your thumb in like this, you're causing pressure on these teeth. Okay.
Correct.
It's done subconsciously. You don't exactly know that. But when you do this, what is happening is these teeth are moving forward like this.
Correct. Yeah.
So that gives the buck teeth formation, हम बोलते हैं फावड़ा है, ये फावड़ा दिख रहा है.
ऐसा दो
Correct.
आ जाता है.
Yeah, so that is attributed to thumb sucking.
Okay.
And this in turn causes more and more difficulty in cleaning. The parents, they clean the teeth. Children can't do that on by themselves. So parents do that. But that is impossible to clean because the structure itself becomes so deranged that the child is not able to clean his mouth properly. And that gives, again, rise to caries or cavities, as we've heard of it. Cavities ho gaye. In the advertisements, they see that. Na? So thumb sucking is one habit like that. Then there's nail biting. But nail biting is not so much causing caries as we know it. There's mouth breathing. This is something which I don't know, many of you must be aware of. We usually are nose breathers, but people who have sinusitis or people with certain, habitual conditions, they start breathing with their mouths more rather than their nose. So this is something that needs to be, focused on. Like I have to get rid of this habit, so I'll start breathing from my nose more. Mouth breathing is also one habit which slowly and very steadily and very sneakily, actually, it causes derangement in the tooth structure. So that is to be avoided.
Yeah, and actually, mouth breathing is also bad because even air is not filtered. Through nose, the air gets filtered.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes,
So that is
you're
another.
taking everything that you're taking in.
Yeah, correct.
Interesting.
Yeah.
एक mouth breathing से structure कैसे हिल जाता है, like?
Yeah, actually, this seems to be a little, too far-fetched, but as I told you, it's a very small process. It's so progressive that, if you start this from childhood, then maybe when you're older, you might have certain derangements in your teeth. That is what I'm saying.
It's basically like water falls on mountain and it creates crevices and cracks after years.
It keeps weathering the rock, na?
Yeah, correct.
The rock keeps weathering, over time. So that is just to be taken into consideration, not something to be very much focused on.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now we'll go into toothbrushing. I don't have a dummy brush, but I have this, so I'll tell you how to brush your teeth.
I have one.
Actually, you have one. I can't teach it.
नहीं आप बोलो, I'll just try to mimic.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Okay, you just follow my lead here. Okay. We have to cover 3 teeth at one time. Okay. That is the ideal way of brushing, I'm telling you. Okay. Do you think your gums pain a lot?
Kind of. Not, I mean, if I apply too much pressure, sometimes it's bleed.
No. Like usually, like
So
you're
usually,
sitting right now.
there's no problem with it.
You see them reddened or something, swollen, reddened, anything like that?
Yeah, I have seen sometimes, like
a bit of that, right?
Reddish,
we all have a certain amount of swelling in our gums, a certain amount of redness. That is inflammation, basically. That is common in everyone because we don't have the perfect oral hygiene, right? But if someone has so much so that their gums have left their original place and gone down,
Oh, okay.
That is called gingival recession. Then a different method is to be opted for toothbrushing, but this is ideal for everyone. So I'm telling you this one. Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
when it,
basically,
so when it comes to brushing, which brush do you suggest? Like Oral-B, Colgate again, or
see,
any of-
any brush is fine, but there are differences in the bristles. There's
Yeah,
hard bristle,
hard, soft.
there's medium bristle, there's soft,
Hmm.
and there's ultra soft. So
Huh.
I'll recommend medium and soft is good. Not
Okay.
ultra soft. Ultra soft is for kids because they have very sensitive teeth.
Hmm.
Hard is for, I don't know why they've kept hard. We just prescribe medium bristled every time.
Mhm.
Uh,
Hard is
but
for
yeah,
biggest ads.
it is for ad. Yeah.
No, but
But
hard teeth can also cause injuries to gums as well, right? If
definitely,
we,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly. That is what I'm saying. I don't know why they recommend, but some people
yeah,
do use that. Some people don't even see the bristles, which bristles
yeah,
they use.
yeah,
Hmm.
correct.
So that. So yeah, Kaustubh, just follow me,
Yeah.
okay?
Huh.
The brush you
Yeah.
have to keep it partially on the gums and
Okay.
partially on your tooth structure.
Okay.
Okay.
Huh.
And now it is to
Intersection
be
between
actually
gums
placed
and
at a
teeth. Okay.
45 degree.
Oh,
Sorry. What?
between the
45 degree.
Okay. Okay. Huh.
On the junction between the gums and the teeth. There's a collar like junction,
Yeah.
no?
Okay. Okay. Done.
Yeah.
45.
There.
Okay. Huh.
And okay,
Huh.
you kept it.
Yeah.
3 teeth at a time.
3. Okay. Huh.
3 teeth at a time.
Huh.
First, sweeping motion like this. If this is the teeth, sweeping motion. Yeah. This is to be followed, and back and forth motion. Okay.
Yeah.
Not too slow. Okay.
Hmm.
3 teeth at a time.
Hmm.
This is called as the modified Bass technique.
Okay.
Okay. This is to be followed. This is the ideal way for brushing.
Okay.
Okay. Along with this, other daily oral hygiene practices to be followed are flossing. Now, people say what exactly, flossing is a very tedious technique. It's boring. It's too monotonous. Takes a long time to work and all. But flossing is actually good. There's a company called Unifloss. These are flosses which are very easy to use. They're floss handles. And you just have to place the floss between the teeth, between 2 teeth. And back and forth motion. And see, this is the sulcus. I'll tell you. See, this is your tooth structure, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Your floss, people generally take it to here. Your
Okay.
floss should go up till here.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Not too
Huh.
hard so as to cause bleeding from the gums. It has to be very gentle, but there's food debris which has accumulated within your gums, which you can't see. Okay. Your floss has to go up until then, and then you have to pull it out. So back and forth motion like this.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Flossing is
Yeah.
something which people don't usually do. And of course, there's then mouth rinses. So toothbrushing technique, which we all practice, just flossing and mouth rinsing. Mouth rinsing is to be done like 2-3 times a week. That is enough for that.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I had one doubt here.
Yeah.
So many people actually like over the years on due to accidents or maybe like the reasons that you said earlier, they develop like deformation of the teeth. So there can be like gaps between the teeth.
Right.
Like in Marathi we say फट आली असं म्हणतो आपण. So फ्लॉसिंग मध्ये मग ते लाईक फ्लॉसिंग मध्ये त्या ह्याच्यामध्ये कसं करणार लाईक फट जर जास्त असेल तर
Further, just to see if the gap is wider, then there's no problem for flossing, right?
अच्छा
In
इझिली जाईल ते
cases
ओके
where teeth have so
Okay.
closely packed together
Uh-huh.
that the floss can't even go, through and through.
ओ
Yeah,
ओके
That is
ओके
that is the problem. But that also doesn't occur. These are micro thin threads sort of. So they go through the crevices, and as you said, the case in which you described, if it's wider, then there's ample space for the floss thread to go, right? So that'll be
ओके ओके
no big problem. In fact, the debris will only not accumulate that much, but then that will cause other problems, ortho problems, which will need braces and all, to cover the gap.
करेक्ट and that gap as well how it is developed that is the same reasons that you mentioned earlier right
I mean, if it's developed due to something, as you said, the external trauma or accidents or such, then that means that is not a gap which has been created over a period of time or physiologically. That is something which has happened due to an external factor. So in such cases, we require endodontic treatment. This you can get at any local dentist. You go to your dentist and just tell, I need to fill this gap. There's a new material. It's not exactly new, but there have been modifications in the material. It's composite. It's tooth-colored material. You can get it at every dentist practices with composite. They can fill your gap and make your tooth structure seem as good as new. And the original form will be restored like this. Okay. And if it's physiological, like you said, out of nowhere, you have suffered from no accidents and still you find this gap between your front two teeth, then that is to be corrected by an orthodontist. But you can go to your dentist, he'll recommend you to some orthodontist. You have to fix braces for that. So to bring your teeth closer. That.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll continue.
Yeah, continue.
I'll come to one of my final points, root canal treatment. Now, what the problem which I've suffered as a student, and now that I'm going to clinics as an intern, is that people are very much unaware of the idea that is RCT. It's root canal treatment. And people always wonder why we have to go for this when I don't feel any pain or I'm good enough or I feel better now that I've taken tablets. Okay, so I'll explain to you what exactly is root canal treatment and how we should know that this is important for me. Okay, you see when a patient suffers from pain, like if Saarth is suffering from pain, he'll come to me. I'll take a radiograph or an X-ray of his tooth, the tooth which he feels is causing the problem. And I'll study the radiograph and I'll tell him I have to go for RCT. Okay. Now I will schedule the RCT, the root canal treatment for say 2 or 3 more days after that. Okay. But he's still suffering from pain. I can't just leave him like that. So I'll prescribe some tablets to him. I'll prescribe maybe an antibiotic and maybe a painkiller. Okay. Just for the pain to subside for 2-3 days, after which he comes back to me. Right. So what happens is when you take a painkiller, his pain is already subsided. So he says that he won't come back. He just decides it for himself.
Yeah, okay.
How to know as a patient that you really are in need for an RCT so that you can ask the doctor yourself these questions or you can decide for yourself. It's not actually healthy to decide for yourself. The dentist knows better, but I feel the patient should know some of the information. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the tooth structure. What happens is, as you start eating, as you start suffering from these cavities, as we say, cavities are basically literally cavities. They are holes in your tooth structure. They are, you see blackish structures on your teeth. Those are cavities. So what happens is our tooth is entirely made of mineralized and non-mineralized substances. Okay. So the bacteria, as they feast upon these substances, they cause destruction of your teeth. Now, as this destruction further and further progresses, these cavities get on deeper. So if the cavity starts from here. Okay.
Yeah.
Only the enamel is involved, right?
Yeah, correct.
Now the caries will further progress because you've neglected this. Now, up till this point, you feel no pain. But now that the dentine is exposed, you start feeling a little sensitivity because it has reached this dentine. See?
Yeah,
correct.
Okay.
Now it is involved the dentine. Right?
Correct. Yes.
It has penetrated the dentine. So now you see those yellowish colors of dentine. You feel a little sensitivity. You feel the hole is so big enough that food debris can actually fit into that. So you say, if खाना फंसता है डॉक्टर उसमें, खाना फंसता है तो ज़्यादा दर्द होता है. We keep saying, right? Then we go to the dentist. Now further and further this progresses, and now it's approaching the pulp.
Okay.
It's not yet reached the pulp; it's approaching the pulp. Now this is something we refer clinically as reversible pulpitis. Reversible, as in this condition can be reversed. Right? And when this finally reaches the pulp, that is when the pulp has been involved. Now, usually when a condition like this reaches the pulp, only this much part is not involved. The cavity is much, much bigger. It's like this. This whole thing is probably involved.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So when you take an X-ray, when you first time, like Saarth came to me for the first time, he's telling me he's got pain in the tooth. I take an X-ray. Just see the X-ray for once. You'll see Have you known radiolucent and radio-opaque structures? Do you know anything about that?
No.
No.
Okay. So basically, when you see an X-ray, there are two types of structures, black and white.
Acha, okay, that, yeah.
Okay. So black is radiolucent
Oh,
or
okay. That I
translucent,
know.
basically, because the X-ray beam passes through and through.
Yeah,
So there's
correct.
nothing, right? Or the density is very less. And there's
Hmm.
radio opaque, which appears as white
Yeah, correct.
because the X-ray beams
Light
can't
doesn't
pass
pass.
through.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah,
So
basic
when
scientific term we didn't understand. Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So you know basically what is that. So when you
Yeah.
take an X-ray, what you'll see is you'll see a tooth structure, the tooth which has been paining. Just see once where you see the blackish structure on the tooth structure, like this. Okay? See if it's approaching this middle pulp layer. You'll see all these structures, by the way, the enamel, the dentine, the pulp. You'll see all of that. Just see if the blackish structure, which is starting from the surface, is reaching the pulp. If it's reaching the pulp or is approaching the pulp, then the dentist will definitely or mostly go for root canal treatment. And it is necessary to go for that because your tooth probably won't survive with the amount of oral hygiene practices that you've been taking. And root canal is basically something, he'll make a cavity in this and he'll drill out all these contents, right? Pulp has pulp, vessels and nerves. He'll dig out everything, hollow out the pulp completely and fill an inert material, something which is, like a cement or something. He'll fill that.
Like
So basically,
non-reactive,
basically
non-reactive.
it's a dead tooth, but it is still in your mouth. That is what is root canal treatment. He'll fit it with a crown so that the structure is again restored. So it appears as if your tooth is normal, but it is dead from inside.
And how does
Okay,
it
so
impact or keeping a dead tool inside? So is there any side effects?
functionally, not so much, I'll say, because you can still bite with that tooth, right? But the thing is, it's not quite safe to have this with all the teeth in your mouth, right?
The next
I mean,
question was
how can you have all the teeth in your mouth? It makes no sense. And of course, there's something called as periapical lesions. Like if this lesion has approached the pulp, it travels all the way down from here and then it causes a lesion in the bone, like this. Okay. It can also lead to something called as abscesses. Abscess is basically pus. Now, this is a very severe condition. If it can be treated with a root canal treatment, it is treated, but not mostly so. In such cases, the tooth is usually extracted because the pus is too huge. The bone has been destructed to a certain extent, and we need to manage this because pus can't be just stored inside the bone, right? So yeah, so people need to understand what is the gravity of these problems, what the pain is causing, and to not evade the dentist once the pain has subsided after taking the tablets. Because tablets will only provide you relief for like 2-3 days for the amount of duration that you're taking them. But afterwards, there's one or the other point you have to approach the dentist anyway. So yeah, that.
Okay. And
any questions about this?
Yeah, so you mentioned that if the cavity reaches the pulp, then we have to do the root canal. But if it is in the like enamel or
Approaching
the
part.
dentine area, yeah, so there only filling is done, right? Basic.
Exactly.
Okay.
Only
Like
filling is
silver filling or something like that. I've seen
silver filling is
earlier.
usually it's contraindicated now because it contained mercury. So most dentists don't practice that, but it's cheaper and it's done in certain areas, rural areas maybe or something. Dental camps usually practice that. It's very cheap, no? Composite is it's a bit costly, but both materials are very durable and effective. But yeah. If it's limited to the dentine or enamel itself, then we just go for a very regular filling and the tooth health is restored. There's no point in going for an RCTM. But you should know that. Observe the black, the spot next time when you go to the dentist. If he takes an X.
So basically it is a okay. Yeah.
Continue. Mine is one deroot question. Like doesn't
Okay.
Okay.
So basically, in the X-ray, if you see, it is it will be a translucent area in the opaque region, correct? If this happens.
Exactly, yeah. But one thing to be noted is this pulp. The pulp region is usually perceived as obviously lucent or black. And dentine and enamel are both opaque. So you might not be able to perceive that very. Now we have the habit of seeing. Yeah, we've seen innumerable X-rays for last. So we know that. But when you see a photograph, when you see a radiograph, just observe it for like 2 minutes. You'll able to gauge from where the black spot is coming and how it is approaching the pulp, because the pulp is also black, right? And your spot will also be black. You need to differentiate between which spot is coming from where and all those sorts of things.
Yeah, and another
Something
thing I have to ask, like
bol.
if like you said, the yellowness of the teeth can be due to two reasons. One is due to our Indian spices and Indian culinary, and the second is if the dentin is exposed. So you said if the dentin is exposed, there is a problem of sensitivity. But if that sensitivity is very low, for example, in someone's case, it is very low, but actually his dentin is exposed, then how would he know without going to the dentist that my yellowness of the teeth is due to the dentin exposing and not due to the spices?
But that is not the patient's concern, right? He has to go to the dentist any which way.
No,
Like
but
if you go to the dentist, if you go
yeah.
to the dentist, see, if it is staining,
Hmm.
what methods will you opt for?
Like normal,
Like,
like normal, we have to just make it white, like that you are
yeah,
asking,
exactly.
right?
I mean,
Bleaching, right?
method. Sorry.
Something like bleaching or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So home bleaching techniques are there, but there's also professional bleaching. But see, bleaching is something which is to be carried out, I feel, professionally is more important, or something which will last longer.
Yeah. No, actually, I had a doubt is like if so the yellowness problem is very common, right? Like
So
even
you mean to see how can the patient differentiate when the
yeah,
dentine is exposed
yeah,
and
yeah. But
when.
if his sensitivity is very low, because sensitivity is normally there in like to some extent.
Right.
Like if we eat very cold thing, then there is a janjanat. But how can he differentiate? That I was asking. Apart
I
from
say you can
sensitivity.
go for see. There's no specific answer, but I can say you can go for trial and error. Maybe try bleaching, and if the sensitivity still persists, then maybe you have to go to the dentist any which way, right?
Or a
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
monthly
There's no
checkup will be
litmus test for you to know, like the patient
Mhm.
knows that this is due to this or this, because the dentist can know that this is the evidence of a cavity, but the patient might not know, right? So this is
Yeah.
something that has to be gone. You have to go to the dentist and get this checked.
So basically, regular checkups in
Regular checkups are very, very necessary.
So
yeah.
कितना regular होना चाहिए? Like what will be the window between two
3 months,
checkups?
I'll say.
अच्छा, okay. Once in a 3 months.
3 months.
Okay.
Once in a 3 months.
Hmm.
People usually go for even lesser time than that, but I feel 3 months is fine. If you are a proper, a follower of oral hygiene practices, if you brush regularly 2 times a day, if you're even mouth rinsing, flossing is still, I'll say, optional, but if you're mouth rinsing, if you're following a proper diet, and if you're brushing after every meal is just, it's vital, it's very mandatory. Just brush after every meal, you'll be fine. Yeah. It
Yeah.
cures most of your problems.
Yeah. Even it's a good. I think it's a good way to like clear the bad breath as well. So like if we get a bad breath, then also if we brush
You mean
or
odor,
mouth
right?
rinse,
Mouth
Yeah,
odor.
bad odor. Yeah.
definitely.
Bad odor.
Yeah. Even
Definitely.
yeah.
Bad breath is also you too. This actually reminded me of your tongue. Basically, has microscopically, when you observe it, it has certain hair-like structures. We call those papillae. So these papillae are they're microscopic structures, but we don't know that. So when we eat food, the thing is, food particles, particulate matter, they get adhered to these papillae. They don't exactly get ingested by us. So what happens is when these stay on the tongue, they stay for a long period of time, because we just brush the teeth, we just rinse, how long do we brush for? Like 2-3 minutes, we are in a hurry in the morning. 2-3 minutes is max. After that, we just leave it. So one thing to be followed is tongue cleaning. Usually you take brushes which have like a scraper on their back.
Yeah. Correct.
Also, does your brush have that scraper? Yeah. So that one, yeah. So just, for like 30 seconds, gently and a little bit, scrub your tongue. Those not too much, so as to, completely abrade those papillae. Just do it slowly, gently, but firmly. So because this papillae, they hold a lot of microbes, a lot of them. That exactly causes bad breath, most of it. It's not mostly attributed to teeth. It is
So
the
how is the hair
tongue.
part in the tongue helping us? Like, what does it?
Yeah, these papillae basically have salivary glands in them.
Oh, okay. So that is necessary. The hair part is
I'm so
necessary.
sorry. It has taste buds in them. So sorry.
Oh, okay.
Taste buds, yeah.
So tongue, because tongue is, taste organ.
Yeah,
So
correct.
sorry, the salivary glands. The papillae have taste buds in.
Okay.
Yeah.
तो रुको एक और मीटिंग बनाया 3 मिनिट बाकी है.
हाँ, ये एडिट कर दे बाद में. यस.
हाँ.
हाँ, अजून एक पाठवतो लिंक. नहीं, अभी तुझे भेजना पड़ेगा शायद. नहीं, मैं
रिकॉर्ड.
भेजूंगा.
हाँ, ठीक.
रिकॉर्ड, हाँ,
कोई
रिकॉर्ड
भी.
तूने किया ना.
हाँ, चलो.
ठीक है. पाठवतो मी.
2 मिनिट में एक और. हाँ.
I'll leave this, na?
हाँ,
हाँ,
एंड.
हाँ, हाँ, मी सेंड करतो.